You're listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. I am your host, Al Mega, CEO of Comic Crusaders and Undercover Capes. In this show, I'm sitting down with creators from all walks of life to talk about inspiration, process, the lessons they've learned, and a whole lot more. Yo, what up, mi gente? Wepa, que hay? It's your boy, Al Mega. Welcome to a brand new Comic Crusaders Podcast. Happy to have you listening and tuning in. Check it out, folks. Today, we have an amazing guest. I mean, this is the Geek's Geek. I mean, let me tell you, it's technology, gaming, toys, and now comics, too. My gosh, this guy's trying to conquer the whole multiverse of media. Let me introduce this future star right here, the one, the only, Senar Koraltan. Tell me I said that right.
You did. You said it very well. That was a great introduction. Thank you.
Because you're a boss, man. You're doing boss level stuff, brother. You know, salute to you as an entrepreneur and getting stuff done.
Thank you very much.
So no, we got to get into it, man. You know, we love a good origin story. And Diggs says, "Ay, what's up?"
What's up, man?
¿Qué pasa, wepa? So now, talk to me. Where you from originally? Where you grew up, and what was your first love in fandom, and who gave it to you?
So I grew up in North London.
Okay.
All of my life. So I've been in London all my life, and gaming has been like a really big passion of mine for a very long time. So ever since I was young, I was playing the Commodore 64 with my brother and sister. My father, he was very much into technology at that time. So it was kind of love at first sight, basically. And
really? Got hooked. What was your first system?
The Commodore 64.
And what was the first game you hit up?
So on the Commodore, it was Pac-Man. That's the earliest memory I have of playing on the Commodore.
Okay.
But
you still have it?
No, I don't. A lot of these consoles that I had are gone now, long gone. I do have PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, and those kind of generation of consoles. But before that, they're all gone. They all broke. I played them so hard that they broke. So,
well, I got two Ataris. I got the two OG Ataris, the 26 and 2600 and the 72.
Nice.
100. I still got them. Mine's. My mother actually did not throw that out. You believe that? She threw out everything else, but not those game consoles.
she knew.
Only those, right? Oh, maybe this will be weird, but these books and these cards, who cares about this stuff? I'm like, oh my God, Mike, you have no idea what you threw out a fortune. So, all right. So, who got you into the gaming though? I really, was it self-discovery? Was your mommy, daddy, titi?
So, like I said, my dad, he used to bring us home all sorts of like games, and he would.
Is this at random?
Because he worked in multimedia in the industry, so. For example, he brought back, I remember on the Sega Mega Drive, he brought back a Beavis and Butthead video game, and we loved that video game. It's just a really random game, but...
How old were you when you were playing it?
Oh, I'm not that old. I was very young. I was playing games like Mortal Kombat and things like
You're
that
playing
at a very young age. But that's
because
I had older siblings, so it was easier for me to kind of like, you know, try and get in on the action and
I see.
With my siblings. So,
of course. Yeah. Oh, little brother's here. Let's kick his ass. and now you'll bust theirs anytime, most likely.
For sure.
That's what big brothers are supposed to do, and big sisters. All right, so it makes you tough. No, I do not encourage that behavior, people. Only playing. All right, so were you a lone wolf in this? Did you have a tribe of kids that enjoyed this culture with you when you were growing up?
I think growing up, I did have friends who'd have other consoles, for example, and I'd always go to their houses, play like the SNES or the N64, because, you know, at that, you know, games consoles are very expensive. So, you know, you could only afford the one, and your friends would have the other. So you'd always go around there to play all the cool other games that are on the Nintendo consoles. So I was always on the Sega Mega Drive and the Sega Master System and things like that. So I was a Sega guy, and my friends were the SNES. But when it got to the PlayStation, that was all me. I was loving PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. It was just an amazing era of gaming at that time.
Oh yeah, my Sega was my joy. I remember when I was playing Mortal Kombat, the first one. I was finally going to defeat the game with Baraka, right? So, and I'm there, like in the moment I was about to do the killing blow, Senar. The killing blow. The game froze.
Oh no! Did you have to take out the cartridge and blow it? And
yes.
put it back in again?
Yeah, man. But the game
Yeah.
was done. You know what I mean? It's like, you crazy. I did a Hulk versus Thor moment with my baby brother because he was right next to me. I mean, my middle
Mhm,
brother, and he
mhm.
started laughing. But I mean, one of those laughs like in your face type
Yeah.
fast. I gave him one of those Hulk versus Thors like this. He remembers that to this day. I really think he cracked the rib that day. I do not encourage violence in gaming, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just saying.
Yeah, put it into the game and not, into the real world.
Yeah,
Put all
because
your
let me tell you,
frustrations into the game.
blowing into that goddamn thing. Hey, at least that was cool. Better than the CD, times again, like DVDs, right? I
Exactly.
would rather blow into
Exactly.
it because at least that's all it is.
Yeah,
Back in the day, like a Dreamcast game would get scratched, you're done.
exactly.
Oh man, we will pray for that Doctor CD thing to work. I remember that.
I did
It's
buy
fun time.
loads of that actually.
You
Any
did?
scratched games, yeah, like you put the gel on the disc, right, and you'll like
Yeah,
try and seal up the cracks. No, I totally was all over that on the PlayStation 1.
yeah. That
Yeah, for
PlayStation
sure.
One's gears are probably stuck with all that oil right now. That's hilarious. All right, so here you are, a kid growing up, you're doing your thing. What happened? When did you want to get creative? What was the spark?
So I think I always kind of knew what I wanted to do, and it was more of a like frustration of not growing up fast enough to get there. So from like an early age, even like through primary school, secondary school, that's in America, high school, I was always trying to figure out a way to kind of like get into the games industry. So for me, it was kind of like soldiering it on until I got to the point where I could get a specific course that I could work, like study and gain those kind of like experiences of understanding how to make games and kind of learning about the process. So obviously you learn more about that once you're working in the industry, but from a kind of academic perspective, they give you some insights in some ways, and you can learn some modules and things like that can keep you can prepare you for what's to come. So when I got to university, that's when I was studying games design as a BA, and yeah, as soon as I graduated from university, I was straight away looking for jobs in the industry. And yeah, fortunately, I was able
Very
to get.
fortunate.
Very fortunately, I
I
was able
seen
to
I
get.
seen your resume, kid. Let me tell you, guys. Wait till you start talking and be like, damn, he hit the industry hard, baby.
Well, I mean, I started from the bottom, so it wasn't glamorous, but I started at Capcom, which is an amazing opportunity. But I was working on like testing mobile Capcom games. So
Dude, yeah,
we're talking
Capcom. That's
about we're
crazy.
not talking about smartphones, yeah. We're talking about like the Java games on like your old like Nokias and things like that.
Oh,
So
really? Oh, nice.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So it was
Crazy.
this is back in like 2008, 2009. So yeah, around those days, that's what it was like. So I was testing on these really small devices with the buttons and everything. So like I said, it wasn't glamorous, but it gave me a really good opportunity to meet a lot of really good friends of mine that have stayed my friends since Capcom, and was able to kind of like get advice and help from them as well, because they're still in the industry. So yeah, we're all still there. We're still doing it. So it's great.
Oh, great. All right. So, when did you decide to do something on your own?
Oh, so this only happened. Well, I've always had this thing of like trying to do projects in my spare time. So I've always wanted to kind of like get a group of people together and prototype and really kind of explore how to make games in a
Okay.
little kind of like a room where you could just like.
And this is more recent, right? You're saying?
Well, I wouldn't say it was recent, no, because I've been, like I said, this stuff that I do in my spare time, I was doing all the way through like my
Okay.
career, but nothing really that kind of I was able to execute and bring it
Okay.
out into the world. So it's only recent, up until like 2 to 3 years ago, when I really started to take this more seriously, and
Okay.
really started to kind of say, now this is the time, because if you don't do
Okay.
it now,
Great.
when are you going to do it? you
See,
know?
that's
So
why I just jumped ahead just really briefly there. And I know I
yeah.
caught you off guard, and I did that for a
Mm,
reason because I want people to see your journey now. So here, after
mm,
Cap, you're doing your thing at Capcom, and I
mm-hmm.
talk from there. You see, it's a long journey, folks. Success is not overnight. This is what I'm just
No.
trying to tell you.
And I was doing
Work.
testing. I was doing testing for like 6, 7 years before I even was able to do like a kind of more substantial role in the industry where I was doing production and managing teams and doing that kind of stuff. So some people have the talent to kind of go straight into these different roles, but I think for anyone that's really like starting out in the industry, just a bit of advice, QA is an amazing way to start a career in games, because you really do understand how games work from, you know, ground zero, when you're like playing the game every day and figuring out all of these problems that you're having with the game, because then it makes you understand how they work. So it's a really interesting thing to do, and I think it's really important as well that people go through that.
So now I know every quality assurance person could beat whatever game it is that they worked on, like, easily, and give you all the back doors. I must meet more quality assurance people.
Yeah, I mean, but you know, working on your favorite games is not ideal, right? Because if you're working on such an awesome project and you're playing it every day and you've seen everything of it, seen everything about it, then you know, once it comes out, you're just like, well, I've already, like, I know everything about it. I've played it. I've seen it in its worst states.
Not again.
So, yeah, exactly. So yeah.
That must be funny when you go with friends. Hey, I just got this new game. No, not that one.
It's okay if you don't if you don't play it straight away, it's fine. If you leave it for like a few months or maybe a year and you come back to it, I think that's more than enough time for you to get over the trauma of going through all of that experience of working as a tester in the games industry.
Okay, so what was that journey like? What other spots did you start hitting, and you know, and what made you, you know, keep progressing like that? And was the goal always to be, you know, independent, to be eventually?
Yeah, totally. I think when I done games design, that was my vision of that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. But I realized that I wasn't going to be able to do my own stuff just doing games design. So I wanted to learn more and do more stuff in the future. So I was kind of like, let me try my hand at doing other things in the industry to kind of build that repertoire, build that arsenal of skills and experiences that I could use to make my own stuff. So making games is a very, very hard thing to do. And so you can't do it by yourself unless you're a really good programmer and coder and you can do other things like to do some basic animations and stuff. But yeah, that's why I decided to go down the route of being more of a production focused role, or producer or project manager, because you get to kind of really collaborate with talented people that can potentially help you in the future to do your own stuff. So that was kind of the rationale for me to kind of like do that.
Oh, crazy. You see this guy? Amazing. So have you always been a comic book fan?
I have, yeah. I have, yes. And I'm not going to say I'm like a super geek on comic books, but I do remember as a young geek, shall we say, going through a lot of the Spider-Man comics and Marvel.
A geekling.
Yeah, geekling. But yeah, like never really like delved into it until I got a bit later on in my career, where I was like really started to look into this stuff, because I was so fascinated with how artists are able to draw these amazingly detailed kind of scenes on these pages that kind of portray all sorts of different angles of shots, of characters, of environments, and trying to like tell a story in a way that you don't get in other mediums. And I think that's a really interesting thing. And that's kind of the reason why I wanted to do a comic book in the first place, is that a comic book is a lot easier to do than a video game, for one. And two, it's a different perspective, a different way of opening people's eyes to the world of what I'm trying to do. And it gives me as well like a visual guide to how I want the world to look when eventually it becomes a video game, and gives me ideas about what I can do to fill out that world and build this Speed Switch universe.
Yeah, and so people we're talking about this. Look at that. Look at that dope comic book right there. What? Look at that art. Look at that cover. That's fire, baby.
Yeah, so Shane Faced, he's called online, but Shane is a good friend of mine, and I've known him since uni days, and we just got along very well, and we have the same kind of personality, and we get along very well. So for us, when I brought this project to him, he was like, I'm in on this. Let's get this done. It took a while though. It took a long time to get to where we are today in terms of like nailing down this first issue, and it's been a journey, and it's been something that we're both learning as we go. And obviously this is my first kind of like dipping my toes into the comic book scene, so like from someone that's making it. So yeah, no, his art is just it's unbelievable. I love the colors he uses, the color palettes he uses. I love his style. It's just very unique, and he's one to watch for sure in the future. I think we'll be seeing more of Shane.
Oh, we definitely should be seeing more of Shane. This is a team as well with the writer as well, right?
Yeah, Ramsey's the writer. So I wrote obviously I built the world and wrote the kind of like first kind of issue with Shane, and then we brought Ramsey on a bit later on in the project, and like Shane introduced me to Ramsey, and we got on. We had a chat, and then
how did Shane know Ramsey?
It's a small world when it comes to like writers and comic books. Like that's for another story. I'm sure we can get them on in the future maybe, and we can get that.
Oh, we should. That'd be fun. I'm interested there because I mean, wow! Look at I know a guy that knows a guy, and look at this. This
exactly. And I spoke to Ramsey, and like I told him the same story. I said to him like, "This is Speed Switch," and he was like, "I'm down. Like, let's get this done." So as soon as that happened, we worked very closely together on the story, and I told him like the brief plot of the first issue, and we started bouncing ideas off each other, and also like just guiding him in certain ways in which I kind of thought that I would like the world to be portrayed and how the characters would feel and things like that. So he'd done a really great job of nailing these characters that we've kind of shown in the first issue. But yeah, no, very talented as well. He's another one to watch as well. I'm telling you, I'm working with such talented people, and I'm just so happy that I'm able to do that. I'm fortunate enough to do that. So
you were stating how you learned a lot. So a huge difference from looking into gaming to creating a comic, huh?
Yeah. 100%, yeah.
So what type of resources were you using to learn, in the process?
I was leaning a lot on Shane and Ramsey for more of the direction and the way the storyboarding, and we'd definitely collaborate on that. But for me, I'm more of like the visionary or the vision holder. So when they show me stuff, we would always bounce ideas each other, and we have like a Miro board that has, like, if you looked at the board, it looks like something out of one of those detective crime scene things. Where you've got all of these reference materials, you've got all these characters, you've got like strings and things like that, and how it's like that, and it's a really I enjoy using Miro because you could do that, you can collaborate on that, and really kind of get people talking about things and nailing things down there and then. So yeah.
So, give us a brief synopsis of this world here that's being created.
Sure. So, Speed Switch, it's set in another star system. It's not set on Earth, so that's one thing. Earth becomes a very inhospitable place, which we can all relate to because that's probably happening as we speak. But basically, there's these colony ships that all humans evacuate from Earth, and they'll go off to different star systems to try and colonize different planets, exoplanets. And one of the colony ships crash lands on this planet. Well, we are basing it off Centauri Proxima B, and basically that planet is tidal locked around its star, which means only one side of the planet is always facing the sun. So it's really hot and inhospitable one side, like desert, and then on the other side it's freezing cold and it's mountainous and there's snow and ice. But there is kind of like a Goldilocks zone around the kind of the vertical equator, shall we call it, and in that patch is where Sunset City has been built, and this happens over hundreds of years. So when they crash land on the desert, that's kind of like the colonies then try to survive and find a place to survive and build that city. So Sunset City is called Sunset Cities because where it's based is in a part of the planet where the sun never sets and it never rises, it stays in twilight. So that's why we came up with the idea of calling it Sunset City. So now that you've got that kind of foundation of knowing that, the actual speed switch tournaments are a kind of entertainment for the masses of the city, and it's a race, and it's a very dangerous race that takes place in the city, and it goes through the planet as well, like round the planet. So you get to go through the deserts and the dark places around the dark side of the planet. So it's incorporating all of these different terrain types and these environments into to the races. And there's loads of factions as well. So there's like the factions that live in the city, but there's also factions that live on the different sides of the planet. So incorporating all of that is a really big task. And so I'm still working on that. I think George R. R. Martin said something like, you can either be the architect or the gardener. And I'm kind of like the gardener, where I'm kind of like deep down, like trying to do all the kind of small stuff. But when you go onto the grander scale of being the architect and trying to figure out like all of the really like distant future stuff, where it's kind of like, I haven't planned that far yet. I'm still trying to, you know, make baby steps in the garden and try and, you know, get things done here. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. But yeah, there's a lot to do.
I'm already digging the concept. So this section of life goes around this world, but only in its equator, correct?
Yeah. So there is kind of like a vertical strip, shall we call it, around the planet.
But how wide is that strip, mileage wise? Has that been discussed?
I haven't really like specifically nailed it down, but it's a big patch. If we say that a city can kind of sit in that patch, it's a lot bigger than that, obviously. So what I'm trying to say is that, you know, others kind of fled away from Sunset City and done their own things. Others stayed to kind of establish Sunset City. So there is a lot of kind of like conflict between the factions, because when they crash landed on this planet, basically everyone was in survival mode. So it was kind of like survival of the fittest. So there was a lot of a lot of disagreements, a lot of you know, the population kind of falling out and moving to different places to kind of move away from each other. So that's kind of like the origins of Speed Switch, which I haven't really nailed down in terms of like giving people that as a comic book, or even as any sort of information that I put out there into the public. So this is kind of like an exclusive. You guys can have like the first kind of view of the origins of Sunset City and Speed Switch.
This is gonna be fun. I can't wait. Now check this out too, because you know, again, you know, you have ideas of a game. There's a kind of little prototype. You know, rough folks. But look how dope the idea is. You know, he said it. I'm saying, you know.
But just to give you kind of like from a games perspective, the reason why I thought this was kind of really interesting is because we're trying to merge combat with racing, and on top of that, there's this mechanic, and the reason why it's called Speed Switch is because your gear switches on the fly. So you can. I spoke about those different environments.
Yeah.
Or those environments. The gear cannot really be efficient, so you got to change the form of it to be able to kind of really perform to its, you know, best on that type of terrain. So what happens is, for example, in the demo that you're showing, is this prototype is a skater, and the skater can go from inlines to quads to ice skates, and that can kind of give you an idea of what kind of terrains will be through the track that you're about to see. So it's very rough stuff. This is all kind of like Unity asset store stuff. So it's not, no art is in there, no animation is in there. But yeah, what you do get here is like you can drift around corners. You've got a boost meter, which is kind of part of the gear itself as well. So if you drift and switch the gears at the right time, when you hit a specific terrain type, you'll get a bit of boost on your boost meter as well. So we're gamifying it, and it's a skill-based game as well. So it is quite tricky. It's not straightforward. It's not just an easy.
Man, I already saw. If I try to jump on that yellow bar, I already see myself like getting keep busting my ass. I already see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like a fun game. You can spend some real good time on this. So what's the idea for this in regards to platform?
So this is just a mobile prototype. Okay. So what I'm gonna do in the future is in my spare time work on this a bit and try and get this into a better shape. But for the future, what I really want to do is make an open world speed switch game where it has the kind of elements of what, you know, the metaverse is giving us right now, where you can kind of come into a game and you can be part of that city. You could be part of Sunset City. You can purchase your own apartment in Sunset City. You can join a faction. You can race. You can watch races. I want people to feel like they're really a part of this world, and the way in which you can do that is by creating a kind of a massive open world experience. And that's what I want to do essentially in the future. And we're looking at engines right now. We're probably going to use Unreal 5 for that. So that's you know, further down the road. But right now I'm just we want to do more comic books. We want to finish off the story.
So what's the arc going to be for the book when you say finish off the story?
Oh, sorry, what was that?
What's the arc length? How many issues?
So that's what we're still debating at the moment. But I want to make sure that I conclude the story for the characters that we're focusing on, because this whole world has many different characters and many different perspectives. And so I want people to feel like there is an arc where you can kind of get an understanding of where these characters are coming from and how they got into Speed Switch Tournament. And you're going to see, as in, you know, like many different kind of shows, TV shows, anime series, where, you know, they jump from different characters and they want people to understand where they're coming from, because, you know, it's not always just black and white in terms of who's good, who's bad. There's a lot of gray in between. And I want to make sure that, you know, it's not just a thing of, you know, oh, these people are good and they're trying to save the day, or they're trying to do this, and then there's the bad guys that are trying to stop them. It's not that, you know, black and white. So I want to make sure that everyone gets an opportunity, and there's some really cool characters that we can show as well. And like I said, there's so much has happened in the past that we haven't even scratched the surface about. You know, Nex, who's the main character in this, and his sister, spoiler alert, his parents die in this one, and so there's even a lot more. There's a lot more to go through, and the parents even like to understand like their story and how they got to where they were, and how their, you know, demise.
So things go far back.
It does.
There's like power, but in the future, in some other distant galaxy. I love it.
Yeah, we wanted to bring it. We wanted to make sure Earth was still part of this, because there's still some references that we can make to Earth. But I wanted to bring it out of that kind of place, and wanted to bring it somewhere that's new and interesting. And like I said, the planet is tidal locked, and it brings in a new kind of whole host of things that you can do with that. And I think that's a really interesting thing to explore, is kind of like looking at worlds, exoplanets, and understanding how they work. And there's a whole electromagnetic thing about Sunset City as well. So the technology they have is all like electromagnetic as well. So there's a lot of that kind of falls into the gears that you're racing on, the bike, the skateboard, and the skates. It all transforms because of that electromagnetic technology. So there's a lot there to go and dig into as well. And so there's many different things that we can go into. I'm sure I can talk your ear off for more than an hour about this, but there's a lot, and I've got a lot of work to do on this. So yeah.
See, folks, this is what's popping. This is what real entrepreneurs do, man. I'm digging it. So, so who released the book now? Who's the publisher? Because the book is out now, right?
Yeah. So I'm publishing it, self-publishing it.
There you go. Ooh, folks, talk about that now. So publishing. Look at this
nightmare. Don't do it.
All right. So what happened? What made you decide to be self-published like this?
I think I just kind of fell into it. I was thinking to myself, if I go with a publisher, they're going to want like 3 issues, and up front. And so I didn't have 3 issues. I had 1 issue that we were working on for like 2 years. So for me, it was kind of an option to say, you know what, let me try and do it myself. So I'd done my research, and it was a very steep learning curve in understanding everything and trying to get it sorted out in time. Honestly, it was down to the last like day in terms of like everything falling in the right place to get this on launch on time at Comic-Con, on Amazon store, on the website. It was very challenging, shall we say. And it was very stressful. I was having like nightmares about it in my sleep, and so it's not easy. It's definitely not easy.
Call the printer.
Exactly.
Wrong
And
with
so
you?
I didn't know I didn't know how well it was gonna do, so I didn't want to like splash out on loads of money and print like loads of copies. So I was very kind of like conservative and trying to do this the right way and not put myself in a position financially where I'm
In the red, if you will.
in the red and all that kind of stuff. So for me, it was just making sure that everything was organized and well. And as a producer, that's what I do in games. So like for me to kind of put that hat on to do the publishing stuff is where it is kind of like you got to go out there, you got to talk to people, you got to understand how these things work, and then just do it. And yeah, I learned a lot. But I think for issues, the future issues, we are going to probably do a crowdfunding stuff. So probably maybe go Kickstarter or something like that. We'll see.
Yeah, so many platforms.
There
too,
are so many
and
platforms,
other ways
exactly.
that there's even print on demand like Global
Yeah.
Comics, which is a nice one as well. So nowadays creators like yourself have so many options. But bravo on you too. That you did it on this
Thank you
first
very
try.
much.
I mean,
Thank
shit,
you.
and you still have hair, bro. Look at that. Hey.
just about.
Yeah. Unless that's a good ass toupee and shit.
No, in my family, hair runs very thick because
all right, there you go, man.
I used to have long hair and everything. It grows like an animal, so yeah, I'm fine in that department.
All right, so there you go. So don't stress out, man. You got this, kiddo. You're gonna kick ass in this business.
Thank you very much.
I dig it, man. So if you could have this be now something else outside of the game and idea and the book now, because you want we're gonna be king of all media here with you on this. Would you like this to be a film first, a TV show first, or
it has to be anime? It has to be an anime. This works. Beautiful. This works as an anime. I think as a movie. The only thing that I could say that kind of resembles what's out there right now, which I can kind of visualize the way they're doing it, and probably it would work for Speed Switch, is like Battle Angel Alita.
Okay.
So I think that type of because they've done that really well. I think I'm sure you've seen the movie.
Yes,
so you've seen the race part where they're kind of like racing around that track and and the special effects, the visual effects are amazing. So I think because visual effects is not a problem anymore, right? It looks amazing now. So for me,
so you could Adobe it yourself now.
You could no, but yeah, no anime.
There you go. Don't make me start doing that shit now.
But no, anime for sure, and I have been looking at studios, so I'm gonna start talking to some soon, and we'll see how it goes. I mean, I really love Trigger Studio. They're the guys that done Edge Runner, Cyberpunk, and they're really talented animation studio. So I am looking around at the moment to see who's interested in, and maybe, hopefully, who knows, like if this really does kick off, then I'd love to make a series, and maybe it'll be about Next, maybe it'll be about some other characters. Who knows? We'll see. But there's, like I said,
bring us. Oh man, I think the best idea is to bring other parts of the Speed Switch where you've seen it in the comics.
Yeah,
you ain't seen anything else yet.
Exactly.
So you could use the animated for that. Then I could see the toy line, the T-shirts, all these shits, and you have an empire here.
I hope so. We'll see. But even well, I am looking into potentially merchandising as well. We could do cross promotions or cross brands products with skate brands and things like that. And I'd love to do that. It's skate culture, exactly. And I think the other thing I wanted to mention as well is the diversity of characters as well, and really trying to represent as many different backgrounds as possible and cultures, because I feel that I think nowadays it's getting a lot better. I think people are doing that, but I feel that for us it's really important because we all come from different cultures and backgrounds. So me, Shane, and Ramsey, and then we felt like together we have to tell a story that we relates to us and resembles what we've been through in our lives, and kind of give that back as well to people, that our friends and our families and everyone else. So yeah, I think that's also important to do.
You're right, brother. I discovered that not too long ago, really, when I started seeing more representation of my people in certain platforms, and when I started really looking at staring at the screen, I'm like, holy shit, wow, it's about damn time.
Yeah,
like that's why. But
and
and then and it touches you though. It touches you
it
here for
does.
real.
It does, because my friends, they send me pictures of them reading the comic book with their kids, and it's just beautiful to see that they see themselves. The kids see them, that there are heroes, there are protagonists out there that are of their skin color, and I think that's
Yep.
really important. I like growing up, I want to make sure that that's something that is represented, and people can really back behind heroes because they relate to them, because they feel that they can. So I think that's, like I said, that's really important to us in doing this. It's really, that's
Excellent.
strongly passionate about that.
Great. That's a great thing, kiddo. Because the world is diverse, man. I mean, we all the same.
Exactly.
Cut us. We all bleed red, kiddo. Don't we? I mean,
exactly.
I don't know what color the lizard people. Do they even bleed? Who knows? Holy
Who
shit!
knows? Yeah,
Right?
that's another story.
Are there lizard people in Speed Switch? I mean,
who knows? There's a dark side of the planet. Who knows what resides there?
see,
That's all
that's
I'm
what
gonna
I'm
say.
interested in. I love my villains. I love my villains. So, like, I really need to know who are. Do you have a particular part in Speed Switch world that is the villainous of the villainous, the vile of the vile? Is
Not
there
the
such a
villainous of the
place?
villainous, but there is a faction called the Reapers, and you see them in Speed Switch issue 1,
Okay.
and it's an interesting thing because these guys, they found a way to kind of like merge AI with this new exotic material that they found, and so it created these kind of like avatars that they can help them when they're in the race, and they take the form of the Reaper, but they're quite unique in the sense that not all of them look the same. They could be different in terms of their look, but essentially they are the Reapers. So these kind of dangerous kind of characters who are kind of like bosses in video games, where it's kind of like these guys are they're kind of like backup. And usually in Speed Switch, you've got two races per team. So that's why you see in the beginning of issue 1, the parents Ivalo and Z racing together, because it's a team sport. So that's how that kind of works. So the Reapers, I wouldn't say they're really bad, but they're the ones that are running the show right now in Sunset City. They've taken over Sunset City because they've won the race and they've got their place in high up in society where they can make decisions. And also some of the areas around Sunset City they've taken over. So there's that too. So there's this kind of power struggle between the domination of the districts of Sunset City, and as well as that, there's these massive. I don't know if you've seen the double pager where we show like the city. There's these massive coils that kind of come out the ground, and there's these kind of like floors that you see going up, and those kind of like smaller type district cities, based in like these indoor cylindrical things that go around these coils, and the coils themselves are charging electromagnetic energy. So that's how they get the energy for the city, is through that. So there's a lot of stuff like that I'm kind of weaving into that. And like I said, they're kind of running things right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future races and who comes up on top.
I gotta check this out. You see what I'm saying? This is my joint. Yeah. Batman were brought them. All right, so we got the game idea, we got the future idea. What about just the future in general, meaning advice now for any type of folks trying to step into this? Because look at you've done a lot. I mean, even where you're working now, you're doing a lot. I mean, Jesus Christ has been doing this on the side and building this awesome project with Initial One out now, folks. Out now, which you could pick it up right here, right? At speed-switch.com, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Look at that, of course. And then folks, listen, you gotta follow them on Twitter and Instagram at Speed Switch Game, and of course Facebook. Look for Speed Switch. All right. Now, so what type of advice would you give somebody trying to step into the game now, based on your journey?
It depends on what they want to do. I mean, I didn't have an
you've done
idea.
So much. Which one? As a publisher, creator? Well, I don't know.
I started out not knowing where this was going to go, and I think what I started out with was a focus on the thing that I love, which is games. And and all sorts of media like comic books, music, film, all of that kind of resonates with me and I'm very passionate about. But I had that focal point of games. So I started out in games. I worked my way up. I got the experience, and I started along the way learning, understanding about what I wanted to do. And when you come up with an idea that you really dream about every day and you have in your mind, I'm living speed switch every day, basically, in my mind. And I've got an e-bike, so I'm speed switching on the street as well. Like I'm like living speed switch every day. And I'm always thinking about ideas. I bug my friends all the time about like, oh, what if we done this? Or what do you think of this idea? So for me, it's you got to believe in what you do. And it doesn't matter if anyone else doesn't. I think you've just got to have that kind of that drive to kind of like see things through. And, now that I've got issue 1 out, that was such a big relief for me. And it was that moment of saying, wow, I've actually done it. It's in my hands. It's tangible. I can see it. I can feel it. I can read it. But then it's like that moment lasted like a split second. Now I'm like, now on to the next thing. Like now on to the next thing. I need to figure out what I'm going to do next and how I'm going to do this and how I'm going to do that. So you can never rest on your laurels. You've got to keep going forward. And I think that's really important, not to feel like, don't bask in the success too much, and just keep humble and just try and just keep trying. Because I didn't have a clue about publishing or making comic books, but I found people that did. And that's another thing, is having people around you that are talented and want to help you and believe in you. Because a lot of people got many ideas out there, and it's about really portraying those ideas that something that they're interested in and they can get behind and they want to be a part of. So there's a lot of things there. There's a lot of kind of communication and that kind of thing.
So a lot of things to learn, works, and just have the drive, folks. Get it done. Follow your heart, follow your passion. Yeah. That's the bottom line. Because Senar said so.
And it doesn't come easy. Doesn't come easy. I've been doing this for 14 years. So it's been a long way. It's been a long time. And, there's a lot. And I'm not even started. Like the comic book is just one small step. Got to keep going, keep building. So, like I said, there's a long way to go, and you just got to keep going. You got to,
yeah, man,
get that rocket up your ass and get going.
So, two things before we go. Two last things before we go. First, just a thank you as a fan to a creator, a fan of multimedia and games, and the hard work you've done. Thank you and salute for your hard work and even your courage to be an entrepreneur on so many different levels. Publisher, navigator, if you will, on this journey, and the gaming side, the Lego side, everything. Thank you. You're a boss, my brother. I wish you nothing but success on that, for real.
Thank you very much. Now,
earlier you mentioned Comic-Con. Were you at Comic-Con this year?
I was at MCM Comic-Con in London.
Okay, how was that?
So, it was an amazing experience, and I was there in the summertime, because they do 2 Comic-Cons in London, and the first one was the preview. So I made a 5-page preview, which I was giving away for free. And
you had a booth?
I had a table with Shane, because Shane he has his own table and he sells his own stuff. Okay. And I kind of like he did me a favor and said, you can come on board and you can give out your previews. Yeah, exactly. So I had my preview there, and I was walking around. I was hustling. I was being
good, as you should, bro.
Going out there, speaking to people, giving out free previews here. What do you think of this?
So no, it's the moment. You hear this, creators out there, that's what you're supposed to do. I get upset when I see so many creators just, behind their table, just waiting for people to come. No, get in front of that goddamn table and bring them on, baby. Show them that stuff. Show them the goods. They could join you. Like, yo, I got something special. Come over here. Wear a trench coat. Have your copy. They go, yo, check this out. Do something. Just bring the attention. I like that, bro.
For sure.
So you were hustling that preview. How were people reacting to it?
They were quite excited, actually. I think when I was explaining it to them, because it's really difficult to explain something to someone when you're only showing them 5 pages, and you can give it to them, and you can hope for the best that they'll go home and they'll read it. But you got to really connect with people and talk to people about these things. So it's a lot of energy to kind of like talk about this stuff and make sure, I was a bit nervous as well. It was the first time I was doing this. So for me, it was like, again, another learning experience where I was kind of like going out there, giving it away, talking about it. People were like really excited and hyped about it. And I was like, great, this is something that actually people were interested in reading or finding out more about. So yeah, it was a good experience. And then again on the 28th, over the weekend that just passed, and I was out there again, and we spoke to people about it, and we told them the idea around it and the world, and they were like, I'm sold, just give me a copy. So I was happy. We had a lot of people coming over to us and nice. Giving us some really positive feedback. So I'm really happy that we were able to do that. And yeah, I was really pleased.
What are the next big cons you want to do?
So we're going to be at Thought Bubble next. So that's in
you
Yorkshire.
are? Hey, yeah. Hey, man, I got to talk to Johnny. I got to see if he's going to that one. So you can pass by and say hello, because I have a Crusader. My boy, my right-hand man, Johnny the Machine Hughes. He got his own show outside the panels, Undercover Capes. Check it out. That's awesome. My boy. He out there. So
yeah, let's definitely arrange that. I'll be happy to talk to him.
Yeah, man. He's the man. All right. Awesome. And you got to check out too, a shout out to Don't Hide PR for connecting us and introducing me to the amazing Senar. So if you're a creator out there looking for some publicity help, let me tell you, this is the place to go right here. All right. Shout out to Mel. All right. So any last words, my brother?
Well, you said that it's out now. Go grab it, see what you think. Tell us, give us feedback. We would love to hear what you think. And yeah, we'll see you in Thought Bubble. And then, like I said, we're looking at doing a crowdfunding or a Kickstarter in the future. So stay tuned. Sign up to our newsletter on the website so you can keep up to date with all that stuff. And yeah, that's it. Please enjoy, and hope you like it.
There you go. Thank you, Senar, for your time. You're talking about this awesome world that you're creating on so many levels and all your plans. See, somebody that's excited genuinely about their project. I love it, man. Great energy, man. Kick ass at Thought Bubble, and make sure that my boy, if he's out there, I'll arrange it, connect you guys, and if he's going, I'm making sure he's gonna pass by and say hello. All right, and then good. And pick up a copy for me while he's out there. That's what he's gonna do.
I'll get the crew to sign it as well for you guys.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be dope, man. Yeah, but that'll be another Comic Crusader treasure that goes into the archive. All right. Yeah, man. Sure. You're a future star. I can't wait. I'm gonna see. Listen, the road is golden for you, kiddo. I know it. I see it. We gotta manifest these things, my friend. All right. That's the truth. All right, folks. You've been seeing this at the bottom all along. Tells you where to go. comiccrusaders.shop. And that's the same everywhere: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, even the TikToks, right? We're everywhere, darn it. And of course, the outro tells you everything else you got to do. But what it doesn't tell you is the show to check out, like I was mentioning, Johnny, on Outside the Panels. That's on undercovercapes.com. So that's the rest of my extended family. There was some dope shows. Check them out: K-Pop Cosmos and the Soppy Spoilers and all that good stuff. Definitive Crusade, No Price Podcast. That's where it's at. All right, mi gente, you know what it is. I'm Al Mega with the superstar legend over here, Senar. Hasta la próxima. Wepa! Thank you for listening to the Comic Crusaders Podcast. If you like the content, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, please visit comiccrusaders.com and our extended podcast family over at undercovercapes.com. And also, make sure to download the Comic Crusaders app on the Google Play Store.